begins with a juicy moment tied up by Wendy in a serial killer's lair. Despite the gag in her mouth, the girl behind the frame voice explains the exposition. During the summer holidays, she honed her psychic skills with a book of goodies. To test them in practice, Wednesday decided to figure out a maniac killer. Why did the thing stitch from the dock thing into the bowling ball of one of the victims found at the crime scene? Using his talents as a ruler, Wednesday calculates a maniac and goes there. By plane, passing along the way at the airport, the guards deprive the poor girl of her means of self-defense. Arriving at the maniac's house, Wednesday tries to shock him with a shocker, but from touching him, another vision rolls over her, causing black tears. The girl comes to her senses in the basement full of large dolls. Next comes a maniac who admits that he sees dead people, and soon the guest will be one of them. But Wednesday has a helping hand. "You know, I also know how to work with my hands," attacks the killer and beats him. Having handed over the maniac to the police and returned home, Wednesday is preparing for the new academic year at Nevermore Academy. On the way there, the girl's younger brother Paxley, who also goes to study, practices well-aimed lightning throwing. Such is his gift. Wednesday forces his brother to knock down a stop sign, causing an accident at the intersection. Such is their uncomplicated family humor. At this time, not far from the city, Private Detective watches a couple swearing when on. He is attacked by a pack of crows led by a bird with a wounded snout. The detective manages to tell someone on the phone where he hid the evidence when birds make a giant feeder out of it and the van. The Addams family arrives at Nevermore Academy, forced to look after Brother Wednesday, conducts a short lekbez for him on subordination, after which he finds out which became a local celebrity after saving the school last year. After meeting the new director Bari Dort, she goes to her room where she is a neighbor. Werewolf Enid staged a pogrom with her flock. Having driven away the shifters, Wendy exchanges summer news with Enid, handing a gift to a doll from the collection of the caught maniac. Also, the girl finds a trap with a crossbow and a message from a mysterious stranger who followed her. "Hey, are you being harassed? Don't be jealous." Touching the photograph, Wednesday sees a vision, how they followed her, but not a friend deftly did not come across her eyes. Gomez takes his son to his room, with Pax neighbors, became Eugene, a classmate of Wednesday. Martisha receives an offer from Director Nevermore to chair the fundraising committee, which will allow her to see her daughter more often, although that prospect is not very pleasing. To let the elder Addams think, the director has them in the house vacated after last year's events. Who selected the setting? Killer Maniac. Martisha says that she can become a spiritual mentor for her daughter to develop her talents, but she recalls Aunt Ophelia in response, sister of the mother with whom she cut off ties. Later, while walking around in upset feelings, Wednesday stumbles upon the scene Private Detective pecked crows. Noticing a suspicious witness, the girl gives chase. It turns out to be the former Sheriff Galpin, whose son she helped to put in a psychiatric hospital. He warns Wednesday that the birds are watching them. In the evening, newcomers are told the story of the Skull Tree, a place in the forest where the corpse of one of the best at Nevermore, inventor of the mechanical heart, which still knocks in his dead body. And only the bravest dare to go at night and listen to how the heart beats. Imbued with spirit, Paxley decides to find this place at night and dig up the corpse. At this time, the director of the blackmail convinces Siren Bianca to join the fundraising committee for the academy. Enid and his friends take the thing into their pack. Martisha remembers her sister, and we plays the viola da celli in the assembly hall, where he meets Isadora Capri, new music teacher. An unknown person cuts out his eyes from a Wednesday photo. The next day, the academy prepares for the burnt offering ceremony, traditional event in honor of the beginning of the school year. Trying to persuade Martisha to accept the committee proposal, Principal Dort puts a Bianca on her. The room finds out that an unknown person stole a single copy of her hands, on which she worked for 2 years. She hid it at the base of the bonfire for the ceremony. Together with Enid, The girl goes there. The ceremony has already begun with the performance of the Iskapri anthem of Narmore. Wednesday climbs into a pile of branches stacked for a traditional campfire to find the hidden manuscript. After the anthem, the director reads a speech that ends with a fire. Crawling among the branches engulfed in flames, Wednesday barely has time to pick up his novel and gets out without turning gothic. Kebab. After that, the director honors her as the savior of the school. But the girl with hostility perceives her popularity and sets fire to a picture painted in honor of last year's events. At this time, Paxley goes into the forest, where according to the map, there is a skull tree. Finding him, he stumbles, mechanically activating his ability to emit lightning. A powerful electric discharge triggers the artificial heart of the deceased inventor, and his corpse rises from the ground to the delight of the boy. Enid catches up with a neighbor who has left the ceremony, but as soon as she touches her, How Wende again plunges into a trance with elements of epilepsy. She sees Enid's grave and her ghost, who accuses the girl of being the one responsible for her death. Wednesday wakes up in his mother's house. Martisha explains that black tears are a side effect of psychic exhaustion caused by abuse of gift. She wants to help her daughter learn how to manage it, but she refuses. Remembering the bird of the story and the words of the former sheriff that the birds are watching them, the girl goes to Galpin's home. However, he is already dead. A flock of birds pecked out the insides of his eyes, arranging a den inside the corpse. When Vensta frightened them, the crows fly apart. Parties to understand what happened, the girl touches the deceased, but for some reason visions do not appear, but the police appear, who arrests her at the crime scene. However, Gomez, a certified lawyer, takes his daughter from the site. On the way home, Wednesday asks what happened to Aunt Ophelia, but the father says that it is better to ask the mother about it. In the morning, Paxley, under the yoke of circumstances, confesses to his neighbor Eugene, which hides in his bee shed a revived zombie, whom he called Klub. Understanding that, he is hungry, they feed him honey, but the dead is sick of such food. Then the schoolboys bring him a sandwich from the school cafeteria. The strep there is capable of either making the deceased or feed him. This rubbish will definitely not finish him off. Back on campus, the Huenstas find Enith lying on the balcony with her throat cut, but it turns out to be a banal prank to celebrate the traditional day of gags. It's like Fool's Day, only for fools who don't know about Fool's Day. Enith joked so much in response to, she realizes they are the remains of the late Galpin. In addition, someone sends a message from the phone of the murdered ex-sheriff that they are watching them. No dead bodies this semester. The Academy celebrates a day of gags. Everyone plays everyone. The headmaster strolls through the yard with Dr. Orloff, distant relative of Professor Dowell. Wenda wonders if they have avian in the Academy, someone who knows how to control birds. The answer is no, and the outcast are minorities. Then Wednesday decides to talk with Tyler Galpin, the son of the murdered sheriff, who is kept in mental hospitals because of his ability to turn into Haida. She steals the coupon alone for a study trip, and cutting the cables of the backup pedals so that the instructor does not interfere, rolls into a psychiatric hospital. According to the instructor, she belongs there. In the institution, a visitor meets Dr. Fairbear, psychiatrist specializing in outcasts. She allows a meeting with Tyler, hoping that it is. Maybe in treatment. However, chained in an isolation cell, Guy not only refuses to help the guest in her investigation, but also shows signs of aggression and threatens to kill Enith, which last time defeated him in battle. Her screams for the rest of her life will appear to you in nightmares. Back in the room, Wednesday finds things locked in a suitcase and a hint from a mysterious stranger about that Enid and her new boyfriend are kidnapped. The girl has half an hour to guess, somewhere out. Save her from the death trap, a meeting with Miss Capri leads Wednesday to think that the prompt contains notes for the organ. Pressing the desired keys, she opens a secret passage to the tower. Inside, she sees some kind of ghost, which leaves another